Hi, everybody. Sorry we are a little late, but I promise you this is going to be worth it. My name is Lisa Dublin, and this is the Sunday edition of Basement Chronicles, where I interview people, immigrants who are doing great things in the world. And today I have with me Chef Pamela Leonforde, and she's actually joining us from Nova Scotia, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. She's in her own establishment where she sells delicious food and enticing a couple of us from Edmonton to go all the way there to taste what she has to offer. Pamela, how you doing? Oh my gosh.
I am feeling so great, Lisa. I'm good. I give God thanks. I'm happy to be on your platform. It's been a journey together, so I'm looking forward to
Yes,
today.
absolutely. And we want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to all our Speak with Confidence people who are listening.
Yes,
We
yes,
hope that they join us
yes.
and comment, like this post, and let's just get those numbers up. So if you're watching for the first time on a Sunday, my Basement Chronicles, I usually go live daily. But on a Sunday, it's interview time where I look for people who are doing great things in the world and, just interview them. It's for immigrants here in Canada. And so far, we've had some wonderful things happen. A shout out also to our LinkedIn community. Thank you for being here. We know LinkedIn is a professional platform, but here's the thing, what we've learned is that if you're not healthy in your body, your productivity as a professional goes down. So you absolutely need to be productive and you need to have health for us to accomplish all the big things we want to do, like Pinky and the Brain, just to take over the world.
Yeah.
So let's begin, Pamela, with tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah, let's start there.
About me, well, I am totally passionate about health and restoration. Health and restoration. I believe that food is medicine. I am a certified plant-based chef and a certified plant-based nutritionist. So I love
Wow.
plants. I believe plants have all the nutrients that we need to maintain a holistic lifestyle. And Lisa, that is actually my personal journey with health and wellness. I was really suffering with an illness, a reoccurring illness I had as a child. And fortunately for me, that some of my friends who I had just met, they were Seventh-day Adventists and they were practicing a whole foods plant-based lifestyle. And they introduced me to that. And they actually showed me how food can be my medicine. And that's what I began to do. I am the only girl of six
What?
boys. My mom.
Okay.
So I am a go-getter. I grew up with my grand aunts Nene and Tete in
Uh,
Sanssouci, with my cousins Pauline Wolf and Cynthia
oh,
Laura. So I grew up on the hill in Sanssouci, and I was also mentored. Well, it happened. My grand aunt, she was Nene, and she sold bread on the Darling Road, and she also was a medicine person. She
okay,
was a
give me
healer,
one
and so
second.
she,
Okay, let's set the stage because
yes,
now people are wondering where exactly are you from? Okay, so we have to go all the way back because
yes,
the audience is not just our St.
hmm,
Lucian audience, it's an international
yes.
audience. So set the stage of where you're from and where you are now, and please continue this wonderful story.
I always like Golden Girls. They would say, picture this. I am from the beautiful, serene island of St. Lucia in the
Yeah.
Caribbean. 238 square miles of sunshine, lush forestation, beautiful
Yes.
vegetation. That's where I'm
Yeah.
from. Uh, my earlier days, my family home is in Cicero. So my mom and my brothers, we grew up in
Mhm.
Cicero, but my mom had seven of us, and so my grand aunts in Sanssouci took me to
Okay.
live with them. So I grew up with my grand aunts Nenen and Tete in
Mm.
Sanssouci, right, and my cousins Pauline and Cynthia. So I grew up there as the only child in the house for 9 years until my cousin was born. My other cousin was born,
Okay.
and so I was very sick as a
Mm.
child. In fact, that's why my grand aunt Nenen took me, because I was sick, and so she was the one who was really nurturing me back to health.
So was she Seventh Day
I
Adventist? Was oh
No,
wow.
my grand aunt was
Oh
Anglican. They were diehard Anglicans, and I went to the church for a while. I didn't grow up Adventist. I became Adventist when I was introduced to a whole food plant based
okay. And for
lifestyle.
those who don't
And
know,
that's
Nenen means godmother, right? Isn't this Nenen?
Well, that's this was the name that everybody called her, but she wasn't my name. She was just my grand aunt,
Yes.
but everybody called her Nenen.
Yes.
So she was Nenen
I
to
think
me,
it's
right?
like I think maybe because you also lived in Africa. So what would you say would be the African equivalent of our nenen calling mother?
Well, a shosho. I live in Kenya and I had a shosho, basically like a grandmother, like an older person who was actually like your grandmother or your godmother, so they have different names in different parts. In
Yeah.
Kenya, she's called a
Right,
shosho.
right. So
Yeah.
if our African friends are listening or other parts of the Caribbean, like what is that maternal figure in the community? What do you call her? In our society, you say nenen. Yes. Right.
Nenen, yes.
Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah.
So did you
Yeah.
get healed from oh my
Of
goodness, you
course.
tell us about that. So were you surprised and how old
When
were you at that time?
I was probably about 7 when I came to live with them, and the doctor said I wouldn't be able to walk
Like,
again, right? But Nenen always said they have no idea what they're speaking about, and she used to rub my legs. I remember Nenen pulling my legs, at night sometime when I had pain and
mm,
stuff. Yeah. And I know that now to be called hydrotherapy because she'd use hot and cold treatment, and I did not know what
oh
that
my
was,
God.
right? So now that I'm practicing it, I know it's hydrotherapy, and it really helps to restore circulation and blood to the affected area. And so
Wow.
I was really blessed to have that upbringing.
Mhm.
Um, Quick story. I remember Nene, we lived right next to CN, which is like Beverly Shashay's property. And she used to send me at night to go and pick some particular leaf. I don't know what it was,
Mm.
right? And I would go in the night to sneak into the neighbor's yard to pick that leaf. And she would warm it and put it on my cousin's stomach when my cousin had some menstrual problems. So Nene was really my first go-to person. And then my mom also was very instrumental in also teaching me about using herbs around the community to help as
Yeah.
well. So
Oh my goodness. Okay,
yeah.
so how did that go from something that healed you to becoming a
Mhm.
lifelong passion? You guys, yeah, y'all have to stick around because we have an amazing story. We're going to bring on Charmaine as well for the Speakers Confidence
Mhm.
people who are listening. We are really going to just break this down to see how practical it has been to do what Pamela is speaking about today. Yeah. So how did that become a lifelong passion? Tell us about that journey.
That's a really awesome question, Lisa, because I got healed. Nene did her beautiful thing, and I was able to go to school and live my life and
Wow.
leave the house and travel all over the world. But as a young adult, I began to have recurring symptoms of the same
Mhm.
disease. Mind you, at that point, Elisa, I had no idea what the
Oh,
disease
okay,
was.
wow.
Okay, I had no idea. I was
Mhm.
clueless. But at that particular age of 23, 24, I was having recurring
What were
symptoms.
those?
And I
Mhm.
remember one of the first things that was happening to me was I had like serious eczema all over my
Mhm.
skin. And I was always limping, always in pain. My joints were always
Wow.
hurting. And I remember going to Dr. Didier at the time, beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful
he's passed
doctor.
now, right?
And
Yeah,
she's,
just
yes, she's the one that did
oh. Oh, is the female
history.
okay? It's the female.
The
Okay, she's
female, the
still
female,
alive.
she's
Yeah, she's
alive.
alive.
I remember she said to me, Pamela, okay, fine. We don't know what this is. So I'm going to send you for some blood work. But in the meantime, she went to VH and did a
Mm.
history on me. And she's the one who told me, Pamela, I found out that you, when you were a child, you spent 6 months in VH and you had Guillain-Barré
Wow.
because I was paralyzed as a child,
Okay.
right? And she's the one that told me what the disease was, and I was now having recurring symptoms of that because, of course, a young adult. I'm traveling, I'm
Oh my.
globetrotting, I'm partying, I'm hanging out, I'm not taking care of myself as I
Yeah.
should, and so of course, and this is actually, Lisa, one of the key things in reversing diseases. When you do not know the cause of your
Yeah.
disease, and you keep going on as if you know what happened, you're not making any changes in
Mm.
your life, right? Then you will always have recurring symptoms of the same
Mm.
disease, right? And so when I found that out, at the same time, I had met some Adventist friends who were going to a seminar in Trinidad and Tobago, and they invited me there, and I went, and that's where I learned, first time I learned that
Mhm.
food is medicine.
Mhm.
uh, Gentleman there did a blood analysis on me, and he showed me under microscope that there was so many parasites in my blood,
What?
and he taught me how, through simple ways, how to cleanse myself and reverse my Guillain-Barré. And I did that by God's
Yeah.
grace. And I said, God, if you heal me, I am going to spend my life telling people about this and helping them to reverse their
So did the
diseases. And that's
parasites cause the Guillain-Barré disease?
Because yes, main
Oh.
contributing factor. And because parasites, they when they excrete into your system, it causes inflammation in the entire body on a cellular level, right? And so I was having a lot of inflammation, I was having a lot of muscle and joint pain, I was walking bent as a young person. All my friends know I was actually highly drugged because I took a lot of painkillers at the time, and that wasn't helping at all. And so when I began to detoxify my body, do a heavy metal detox and also do fasting, and then have to put in new and healthy minerals and nutrients into my body, I began to get
So
well.
some of those
And
simple
that's
things that he taught you was stuff like that, like to detox, to
yes,
fast. Oh
detox, to
my
fast,
gosh.
and to yes, and to cleanse my digestive tract
Okay.
and circulatory
I
system.
think it's a
Yes.
nice time for us to kind of just tell people, yes, we're from the same country, and we knew each other back in St. Lucia, but we connected because Pamela
Mhm.
just finished my Speak with Confidence program. And if I may at this point, just to give a little piece of the narrative right now, um,
Mhm.
this cohort was pretty special, pretty high energy. If they're listening, what? Pretty high energy, and she was so much a part of that energy and just bringing that vivacious nature to the program. But what stood out for most of us about you, and I'm sure I speak for your other cohort members when I say this, is you're just so passionate about this. You speak about nutrition and food as medicine the way I speak about speaking and coaching. Like, I could go on all day, whole day to tell you, do this, do that, let's do this. This is how you do it. This to be excited about what you do. And I believe like that is why so many people came to you even out of that cohort and in the biggest Speak with Confidence, like the main group with all the graduates, because you are just so passionate about this thing and you live it. You don't just speak it, you absolutely live it. So that's how we met you guys. And so every speech he had to give, it was about food, right?
Yep.
It was about
Yep.
how to eat
That's
healthy. Like you felt attacked, you felt like convicted.
it wasn't personal. It was just my it's
That
just my
yes.
passion.
So Deborah
Yeah.
says we're here. Here's Deborah Pamphlet. She says we're here. Thank you
Yes.
guys. Thank you. So let's continue the story about because I heard you say that you're also a certified plant-based nutritionist and a certified plant-based chef.
Vegan
Yes,
chef.
okay, vegan
Yes.
chef.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about
Yeah.
why did you segue? Why was it not enough to just stay at Nenen's level? Go and get the herbs in the backyard.
Yes, because one of the key things that really motivates me is I have the privilege of adopting a daughter. She's 19
Uh-huh.
now, and I thank God every day that when she came, I found out very early that um, she had a dairy
Yeah.
sensitivity, right? And that was really a plus for me. And then what happened, I wanted to raise her on a whole food plant-based
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, and I had to up my game. Said, okay, fine, Pamela, you have to learn
Mm-hmm.
to be very creative with this thing, because she's going to be going to school, and she needs to be able to bring her foods to school and not be bullied. And bullying is a big thing
Yes.
in our schools, no matter what school you go into,
Yes.
right? And I began to really study and use YouTube and use the internet to figure out how to make creative plant-based dishes for her. But I thought, why not take it to the next level? Why not
Mm-hmm.
really, go into, because when I really figured out, I said people are drawn to food, they're drawn to eating, and I wanted to feature Caribbean food on a gourmet level, right? And I know on my own I wouldn't be able to do that. I need to be able to get the expert training to do that. And so when I moved to Canada is when I really got motivated to do that, to really take my knowledge and my experience and my everything a bit further. And so I enrolled in school and also started to study to become a certified vegan chef. I'm currently now doing my
Yeah. Should I not have said it?
with that, no, my master chef training, which is actually the next level in plant based,
Yeah.
cooking, and it's so exciting. There's so much creativity. There's so much you can. You can give me a mango and I can think of a million different
Right.
ways to use it. And that's what being plant-based does. Instead of just eating the mango, you can make it, you can recreate it into so many different things without sugar, without gluten, without whatever, making it wholesome, but also making it a bit more exciting. It's like putting on your best
Yeah.
outfit, getting your
Yeah.
hair done,
Yeah.
right? Making yourself be more, look more creative. That's how I feel about food and making it more
Okay, so
creative.
I want to go before
Mm.
I'm going to bring on Charmaine in a while. About when we get to like half the hour, we'll bring on Charmaine because it's like when Charmaine comes, it's just pure excitement, right? So let's get the basics out of the way because before Miss High Energy comes on the scene. But here's the thing: tell us about how you
Mhm.
started using the knowledge that you have to help people
Mhm.
to reverse chronic illness and things that they thought were life sentences. Like some of your stories are just just amazing. Yeah, can you tell us about those things?
Because I am a living testimony of the food, the food and health, story. I It's my experience. I was able to use my journey. And the other thing also, a lot of people who knew me, they knew me limping. They knew me in pain. A lot of my close friends, I remember Pauline, who is
Yes.
my dearly beloved. She's my, well, cousin, but she's
Yeah.
my mom because she raised me. She's my mom. She's my mom. And when I came from Trinidad and Pauline saw the change, she became a convert. She's like, wow, I never thought I'd ever not see you in pain, Pam.
Wow.
Okay. And yes, and if I could have convinced her, then I can convince anybody that food is medicine. I've had the privilege, the privilege of being able to intercede on behalf of many people who have had different diseases, who have had different struggles, and they didn't have the knowledge of how to, number one, combine foods so that they can get the nutrients out of them. Because combining foods is a
Okay, no
science.
problem.
Most times we eat other plate of food. We have no idea what we're eating or why we're eating. We eat because it tastes good and it looks good. But if you understand that when you combine your foods properly, you can get more nutrients out of them. It also
Mhm.
helps you to be able to create, a wholesome
Mhm.
person. Um, Also, the other thing for me was that when I look at my cultural roots and I look at my history and I look at, my family history,
Mhm.
we are genetically predisposed to diabetes, to
Yes.
hypertension, to
Mhm.
cancer. And I spoke to God, I said, God, this is not going to be my
Yes.
end. I am not going to cultivate those tendencies that I inherited, which is actually these genetic
Okay.
things. And that required work, that required abstaining from things that I know for sure that took my family
Right.
out, right? Needed to get into a life sentence relationship with God and with
We'll
my
talk about
body. I
that
want it
life.
to be
Yeah.
life, right?
Wow. Okay, so tell us some.
And so
So
I
tell
had
us
to,
some. Can
yes,
you
go
share
ahead.
with us? Is it okay to share some of the majors? I know you've had some major successes, like helping people, to reverse
Mhm.
chronic illness, not to have to go back under the knife, just not having the surgeries and so on, whatever. Can you share one or two of them with us?
Well, one of the things I pride on is these stories are like personal, unless people give me the permission to
Okay,
share. But I can be general. I can be
absolutely.
general with
Mhm.
you, right? One of the major things that we suffer as Black women is having
Yes.
fibroids. And if you study what's happening, with us, hysterectomies are the thing. Okay, that's the thing. Take off your womb. No, the womb is there for a reason. Okay, in fact, every organ in the body, every part of the body is designed there for the whole body to function properly, right? And so I have been able to educate a lot of my friends and women, as to how to eat, how to use herbs, how to use hydrotherapy, right, and to reverse the process of fibroids. A fibroid basically is feeding on your protein that you consume. Okay, sucking out all your energy. And for example, Lisa, if you walked into your house and you found out that there was water in your basement up to your knee level, what do you do? What's the first thing that you do?
Well, you shut off the
You
tap,
get a
right?
mop.
You find the root of it. No, like yes.
Yes, we spoke about that, but most people would just take a bucket and start taking out the water from the
Yeah.
basement, right? And then take a mop. But the more you do that, the more the water is pouring in. You haven't found the
Yeah.
source. So the first thing you do is to find a source, accident the cause of your disease.
Mm.
Okay, there's a tap open. Close that
Yes.
tap. Stop consuming, eating, doing, listening to, watching the things that are causing you to be sick. First thing, that's what you do.
Wow.
And then the next thing you do is you begin to take out what was there. All right. You go on a cleanse, you go on a fast, you go on a cleanse, you cleanse the circulatory
Hmm.
system, and then you begin to restore and put in healthy, wholesome combinations of things that's going to build you
Okay.
back. It is not difficult to do that. It is just mind over
And
matter
support,
because it's
because we'll talk about that when Charmaine comes. We'll talk about
yes,
this. What a
and
wonder! I mean,
support.
I'm a coach and I embody it. I respect the field, the craft, but to have met you and to see somebody be able to walk along with people who had not done something before, it brought my own coaching practice to a new level. Thinking in, okay, so when I'm coaching people who have never been, there's a level of holding of hand holding that is needed, and that's what you did.
Yes,
So
yes,
you can, so with
yes.
food we can reverse fibroids. What else can food, using food as medicine? And even when I was like writing the title for the live, I said to myself, food as medicine sounds like Buckley's. Ew. But
Wow.
that's not what it means, right? It means
Mhm.
choosing the delicious food that can help to
Mhm.
heal your body, that we don't sometimes need to always have the outside sources, that God knows what he was doing. So what else is possible if you use food right? What other lifestyle diseases can be reversed from just having a healthy diet or doing certain things along the
Listen,
way?
any type of
Hmm.
cancer, okay, any type of cancer, stage 1 to stage 4, can be reversed if you exactly know, how to use not just food. We're focusing on food
Yes.
today, but there are laws of health that needs to be
Yeah.
followed, right? The amount of water that you drink, you sip on every day, the amount of rest that you get every day. Exercise is also
Very
a
important.
key
Yes.
component in reversing any kinds of illness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
movement. Okay, these things are
Yeah.
important, and we know the Bible says we need to have
Mm-hmm.
faith, right? Trust in God,
Yeah.
right? And a faith that works, because if you believe in God and God is telling you to do something, you have to also do what he says. You have to be obedient to his health laws, because I'm very biblical, because I believe, because in James it says, I wish above all things that you
That's
prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospereth. That is evidence to me that my body is as equally important to God as my soul. Because Paul tells us your body is a temple, God dwells
yeah.
in us. And so imagine you don't want to live in a dirty
Mhm.
house, but you want God to live in a dirty temple. That's the thing. It's simple. If we see it like that, then we'll want to be able to try. It's not easy. I'm not gonna sit here and say
Oh
that's
no,
an
we know
overnight.
that.
This is one overnight thing, Mike, and I'm still have my struggles as
Yeah.
well. Okay, but it is a determination. When you look at your history and your family history and the history of Black people and the history of people who are dying of different simple diseases, you're like, hey, I gotta do something
Mm.
different. I have to make a change.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I must do
Okay.
that, and that's what I told myself very
So
early.
here's another
Yeah.
thing. I really have to put a plug for speaking and pursuing a passion in a certain way right now. Okay, so here's the thing. Like you lead with the excellence first. And I think everybody can agree with that. It was only when I started working with you one on one, I realized, wait a minute, this girl is deeply based in biblical principles. But you didn't come out like with a big placard, Jesus is the answer. Like nobody wants that, right? I know I could get into my feelings about that too. But the thing is,
Hmm.
when I saw you and why I said, okay, hey, find your fire, that program that I'm running very soon, for people who have a passion, who have a thing to say and want to go out into the world to say it, you're a perfect example of it. You're even branded, Pamela, with the glasses and the chef hat and oh my goodness. And this is
No,
easy to
it's
do, but the thing is that a lot of us, like, sometimes we let the faith get in the way. What about translating our faith into the excellence, so that people will lean in and be like, okay, who is this person? What is she doing? How is she so excellent? And then, even by your execution and excellence, you get a chance to share the faith that fuels you anyway. And I kind of like, I was so surprised to see this because you literally led with just the passion for what you do and the excellence about it first, and I just want to applaud you with that. So we have to shout out, if I before I let you, if I may, let's tell Charmaine to get
Mhm.
ready to come on, please. Cohort 9, please get your girl ready. Tell her she needs to sign in so I can see her here. I sent you the link in WhatsApp, so please sign in, Charmaine, so we can continue. Because the other part of why we're doing this today, and what the name of the title of the live actually is 100 hour fast, how? And
Yes.
exactly what you just led Charmin and I on, and you did it as well alongside us. Like, I have to tell
Yes.
you, when you
Yes.
first said 100 hour fast, my eyes just glazed over. I'm like, girl, in my head, I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't even do a proper 6 to 6 fast, right? I can even do proper
Yeah.
6 to 6. What on, how on earth am I going to do this? Like, how is this even possible? And by the grace of God, like, I'll tell the story of how it ended, but like, it was absolutely amazing.
I want to put in a plug here
Mhm.
because Lisa, I want to really, 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 really let everybody know that I can't take any glory for anything, right? Everything is I have to give God all the glory because honestly, without a firm
Mhm.
belief in when God says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me
Yes.
strength, then I can do
Yes.
anything, right? Because it's really and
Mhm.
truly a faith that
Mhm.
works.
Mhm.
We need to have it,
Yeah.
okay? Because God He's the author and the finisher of our faith. He has given us everything we need to be able to be well. And I like to also say, remember, if you believe in the Bible, God created Adam and Eve and they were
Mhm.
perfect, but yet still He gave them a prescription for remaining
Mhm.
that way. He said you have to eat nuts, seeds, and grains, and fruits with the seeds in
Mhm.
them. That's what it's,
So,
yeah. Imagine He made two beings who were perfect, but yet still He gave them a
okay.
diet. Why would He need to do
Yeah.
that, right? So here we come 6,000 years later and think, okay, fine, we have all these negative carcinogens in the air, and we want to eat how we
Mhm.
want, but we want to be able to be healthy. No, we have to go back to exactly what God actually wanted from us to do, is to be able to eat healthy so we can be healthy, so we can, stay focused on
And it
Him.
makes you more
That's my
mentally
goal.
alert and all of those things. Like, we'll talk about the
Yes,
benefits. Charmaine is here. Where'd she
yes,
go? Charmaine's
yes,
here. I'm going to pull her up in a little bit. I just wanted to talk about the background, where you are now, and to just, tell us. I love that background. So you're in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia now, right? This is your own
yes,
establishment.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. I've been blessed to have a cafe called Cafe Kaimaji, which is an actual place in
Yes.
Moshi that I
Moshi
love.
is in St. Lucia.
Um,
Girl, you're not talking just to
yes,
St.
Moshi.
Lucia's.
Sorry. It's in St. Lucia. I used to live in
Uh-huh.
Basically. I loved Moshi. I couldn't name the cafe
Mhm.
Basically for sure, but I lived in
Mhm.
Moshi. But this cafe was inspired by my daughter
Mhm.
because we like to go. We are foodies. We like to go
Mm.
looking for vegan food everywhere we
Okay.
go. So when we landed in Yamas, we couldn't find vegan food, and so my child, beautiful soul, she's like, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" Just so you know, I just them in my business, eating my little food I bought. She's like, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" "Mommy, look at what we're eating." "Mommy, you're wasting your talent and you could be opening a cafe in the town to sell proper food and you have us here eating
Oh
that.
my gosh,
Shame."
what?
Shame.
In the mouth of babes, okay?
And of course, I said, God, if it is your will, you will. I mean, money, Elijah, I don't have
Uh-huh.
money. So, God, if it's your will, you will provide the means and the way for me to be able to do this thing
You did
here,
it.
right?
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I did a walk around the
Uh-huh.
town. It's a big
Mm-hmm.
town, praying, and then the Lord revealed to me this
Mm-hmm.
location. Um, and then I called the man, and he gave me this location here, which actually was the very first sweet shop in
Oh
the town.
wow. So it has
Okay,
precedent.
so the very first sweet shop is now the very first plant-based
Yeah.
place, and it's the very first black-owned business and on the main in town
Okay.
here, right? Ever. So we are breaking some boundaries and barriers
Wow.
here,
And
and
you, yeah,
yes,
like you said, people come from is it Halifax? They come in to
yes,
patronize and all of
we do
that.
have.
Yeah, so you have regular
Yeah,
customers.
the town also supports us. The Chamber of Commerce supports us. The CBDC, everybody from the town. Right? People do support us here from Yarmouth. We do have regular customers from Yarmouth who come
Yeah.
in. People from the other towns, Lunenburg, Weymouth and Shelburne, they come in. But our main customers come from
No, that's
Halifax
awesome.
for
Okay,
now.
guess who's here? Charmaine's here. I want to bring on Charmaine was also, so let me bring on Charmaine Poyet. Charmaine is a dear friend, and let me just bring her on. Here she is. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh wow, what happened? There we are. Oh geez, we lost you.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? Let's see if we can get that in like a three. I was about to say something, but no, let's not do that. Is that good? Yeah? Okay, let's
Hey,
do that.
Lisa.
So, yes, hey Charmaine. Hi, welcome to the program. And I'll expand it in a little while, but thanks for being here. So, oh my gosh, look, you lost weight. Look at you. Oh, you lost way more weight than I did. Look at how slim she is. Look at how you can see the 100 hours. Yes,
Radiant. The word is
radiant.
radiant.
Hi,
Yes.
Lisa.
The
I'm
word
not
is
hearing you if
radiant.
you're hearing me. Sorry
Oh,
about
you
that.
you
You and Pamela are frozen.
frozen? Okay, hang on. Why are we frozen? You're not frozen. We can hear you. Can you hear us now? We
We
lost her.
lost
She's
her.
gonna come in. Okay, so now this part of the interview,
Yeah.
you guys, you have to stay. Okay, let's add her to the stream. All right, let's see. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome.
I
Welcome.
I
Look at
called and
Charmaine.
disconnected it.
Pardon? You
As soon as
disconnected?
I joined, I got a call and I got disconnected.
Oh, that's what happened. That's fine. We're happy that you are here. Okay, so welcome to the show.
Right.
Introduce yourself. Tell us where you are, where you're from, where you are now, and then we'll start about this whole drama we've been on the last week.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shami Poyot. I'm St. Lucian, but I am currently residing in Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay, and she's an HR professional up there in Antigua, and she was part of the cohort, part of the energy. Okay, I have to call you an entire energy for cohort 9. Like maybe when you have a kid and you didn't expect the child to be that vivacious and rambunctious. Whoa, yes. But I thoroughly enjoyed having that energy and just continuing to see how you all just mesh into the program going forward because speak with confidence. This was cohort 9 and they just gave it life. So welcome to the show. What have you been up to? Tell us about, yes.
I wore this top just for you to see
To
the
see your
evidence.
neckline.
Can you remember clavicle?
Uh, Charmaine.
There she goes.
Charmaine. Showing off. Charmaine showing off.
I
And
know.
people have not seen me in a week. My
Yes,
name
seriously.
is Dana,
Yeah.
and I'm like, who am I? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about why I lost some weight as well. I think the last day or two, like just even introducing a little bit more into my diet, I'm like, okay, there goes the fat cheeks again. Okay, but that's fine. That's okay because it's something Pamela has been saying that it's not about just the fast. And I had to admit to myself this morning that I think I was just aiming for the end of the fast instead of lifestyle. So maybe we should let Shami, maybe we should let Pamela tell us about what's the 100-hour fast, what is it supposed to accomplish, and how does one do it? Okay.
Yes. So the reason why we began with the 100-hour fast is because the 100-hour fast is deep detoxification at a cellular level. Okay, it's really a cellular reset, and so it's where the digestive system is given a complete rest for approximately 4 days and 4 hours. Okay, and it's a gentle yet powerful fast that's focused really on healing. Most times we think we are deprived, that we are not. It's about allowing the body to redirect every single energy towards repair, towards hormone regulation and inflammation reduction, because we are all inflamed as we go forward our daily lives, eating and not watching what we put into our bodies. And so it's a liquid only fast. That's the thing, right? And you drink a lot of water as well. Sometimes you have the herbal tea. Charmaine always had her cinnamon tea
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
And in the end, I added in the green juice to rebuild and restore. And of course, we have the broth at the end, the mineral broth as well, right?
Mm.
And so it goes through a few stages. Like for example, the first 24 hours you have a glycogen. It is used for energy, right? And so you feel a little mild
Mhm.
hunger, but not so much, okay? And then the next 24 to 48 hours, the body begins to burn
Mm.
fat, and that's where you really begin to feel your intestines shrinking and your body, everything's coming together. I love that part, right? And the hardest, most challenging part is the third day, okay, where you have old cells break down and
Mhm.
detoxify. And now you have the cravings. Oh my gosh, you're crawling to the end
Yeah.
of that third day. And then the last 100 hours, you have deep cellular repair and spiritual
You mean the
clarity.
last
And
20 something hours? You mean the last day? The last 24 hours, you mean?
the last 100 hours,
Last.
sorry. And then you have Shaman telling me, "Oh, I don't feel hungry. I feel good. I feel energetic. I just sit with money in my business." So you begin to feel that high. You have sharp mind, you have clarity, and you have focus. You have reduced inflammation. So it is really, about detoxifying your body. The different herbs in there, for example. Sorry, the juice, the green juice I put
Yeah.
in there. The cilantro is really for heavy metal
Okay.
detoxing. The cilantro, the celery, all these things help to cleanse out the liver, detoxify you and make you feel free and healthy,
Wow.
right? So
So,
yeah.
so Charmin, so let's talk about your journey with it and how was it? Which was the easiest day, the hardest day? Because, yeah, let's talk about. So, let's start there. Mhm.
The first 24 hours was simple. I have done a 24-hour fast before, and I did intermittent fasting. So that was easy for me. The challenges started at the 25th hour, and the worst was on day three.
Yeah.
Day
Mm,
three, I actually felt nauseous, and I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore.
Hmm.
But I am still on it. I am on the juicing section. I'm in my last hours of juicing.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
very happy that Chef Pamela was there as a coach. And Lisa, the two of us also had our
Well,
little.
we were in it together. We were in.
yeah, it's more in the back, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change like how we look on the screen, you guys. Excuse me for how it looks. But I wanted to like split the screen in three. So sorry about that. I'm not that versed in this yet. Yeah. Uh-huh. So for me day two was terrible because I was also coming out of this 100-hour fast. I was
Mm.
also withdrawing from coffee, right?
Uh-huh.
So like the first day, when somebody puts your head in a bracket and they tighten the screws, that's how I felt day one and day two. And this is while I'm coaching my clients, I'm going live. I think no, did I go? I'm not even sure. So it was really hard to do the two things, but somehow survived. I had a little slip up. I had some cheese crackers. I was like, well, I'm just gonna tell my coach because if you see, I don't tell my coach. That's why you have a coach. You bring everything to the table. There's no point in hiding because how is she going to help me? And what she did was, she's such a coach, right? Like she just nurtured me back into okay, you just pick up from where you are, just kind of continue. And after that, it was easy because she just made it seem, she's like, yes, you can do this. Why can't you do this? You've done hard things before, that kind of way. And so
What did I tell you? What did I tell
oh
you?
yes,
You're
I
your
have to
own
say
what?
this. So she
Yeah.
said to me, you are your own rush. Shami, does that not sound like a t-shirt? You are your own rush. You don't need coffee. That's
Yes.
all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
That phrase, like it became a thought, like a thought that I could think that created a can-do attitude. I haven't had coffee, so it's like, you know what? I'm going to start like a coffee aholics or something like that because this is
Mm.
this is since last week Sunday, so I'm 7 days free of coffee. And I'm not going back
Mhm.
because for those of us who are in Edmonton, we know, or in Canada, the price of coffee has gone up, right? And I'm like, you know what? I have every reason, economic included, not to be doing coffee anymore. So that was like one of the complete things that happened for me. Getting off of coffee, which I always wanted to do, but didn't think that I could. I'm my own rush.
Yep. You are indeed.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
So what now? How easy is it for the for normal people to do this, Pamela? Somebody who's working, like, okay, so I work from home. Charmaine is in the office, also has a daughter. So it's not like we don't have duties. And it's not like I withdrew and went into a cave while doing the fast. I was still wife, mom, entrepreneur, all of the things. How does somebody do something like this?
So I am a chef 24 hours a
Hmm.
day, right? While we were doing this, I was preparing 150 burgers one day. I was prepping. There was one day, another day, the third day, I had about 16 customers come in. And that's macaroni and cheese, that's zesty island burgers, that's black bean
Hmm.
burgers, that's everything, all day I'm smelling food. I'm doing, then I have to cook for separately for my daughter and my husband, right? And so mentally, whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. I kid you not. I don't smell, I don't taste. I trust the Lord, that trust the process, that Lord, you have begun a good work in me,
Hmm.
right? And so I just prepare my meals, I serve it, and I'm serving, and I'm
Hmm.
alone. My daughter is working, so I'm front of house, I'm also chef,
Wow.
right? I'm doing all that in the 3 days that we were doing this thing
Yeah.
together, okay? That's why I tell people I need to be able to not to take on clients. I need to be able to do it on days when I am not
Yeah.
heavy, because this requires my attention. And I have to remember, hey, I have to check Lisa and Charmaine on the hour. I have to
Good.
send them a
Yeah,
voice
she was
note.
good with that,
I have
right,
to
Charlie? She was good with that.
I have to, because I know it's your first time doing this thing. I have to be on the ball with you guys, all
Yeah.
right? And it's personal to me. Everybody is personal to me. I have to take you on personally.
Okay.
I need to know what Charmaine's doing. I need to know, okay, she's in a meeting, Shams. It's Charmaine's lunchtime.
Yes.
What are you doing? Okay, I'm in my car. I have my juice. I get a picture. I need to know what you guys are up to, because I
Wait,
don't want you to
sorry.
skip.
At this point, we have to talk about coping strategies because Charmaine had a funny coping strategy. At lunchtime, she was in her video in her car doing what?
Yeah, sipping water and minding her
And
business.
watching funny videos. That's what I was.
I don't want to. Yes,
Oh
But at the end of the day, you get these beautiful results. When I saw your picture of you jogging a few days, I'm like,
my
this is
gosh.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's what you
Mhm.
really want. You want to feel
Oh
good in
yeah.
your
I was on a
person.
high.
It's an intimate, personal thing
Hmm.
for you,
Hmm.
right? And I keep telling you guys, it's a life sentence. This is not you're doing this to get over with. Oh, I 3 days to go, a day to
Oh,
go. No, you're
yes.
gonna go right back
Okay, so
into your
let's
sentence,
talk a
right?
little bit about that. Before
Yeah.
we go on, you spoke about
Mhm.
clients, and I really wanted because I feel like what I'm sure you agree, you can chime in here. What Pamela has to offer is so valuable to our existence and peace in this world. That I'm not sure. I know you're taking on. Oh geez, hold on. There goes my. Oh geez, hang on, you guys. You know when you get a call in the middle of everything? Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry. You guys heard it? Okay. But you asked, I
That's
put
okay. That's
client still, and I just put in the link if anybody, what a man's mind can conceive can be achieved. So Nika on LinkedIn says this, what a mind's man can conceive. Let's just pull that up. That's a really nice comment. So I just put in the link. If you are watching this on LinkedIn, you might not be able to see Pamela's Calendly link. But if you're hearing us and seeing the benefits and how we're talking about this, and you want to get in touch with her, book a free consultation. I put in her Calendly link. Go book an hour with her. She can talk to you about what she offers and what she can do for you. Okay, I just think it's one of these valuable things. Like if you can control diet, you are just on your way as well, right? Charmaine, what do you think about that? Like, how has that impacted your life?
Okay. Um, it was not about losing weight. I'm serious.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was about having a reset. I
Yeah.
have severe allergies and I
Mhm.
just needed a non antihistamine way to start taking care of that.
Mhm.
But along the way, um, I was so focused on my routine that at 7 a.m. I have breakfast and at 1 p.m. I have lunch. That
Mhm.
food was constantly on my mind. But
Mhm.
when I made up my mind that I am going to accept this challenge. Like when I spoke to you and I said, whenever I think of food, I am going to say a prayer for a particular cause. I
Yeah.
was just anxious. And I
Mm,
actually was not hungry, excepting for that third day. I was hungry. The
yes.
48 hours before, I was just thinking about food because that is my routine. I'm on a schedule.
Yeah.
Also, the mindfulness that came in with that, I wasn't expecting to be mindful. On mornings, I am a bull in a china shop. But since I didn't have all of the energy, I just had to slow down.
Yeah.
I got to work on time. My daughter got fed and out of the house on time. And I
Yeah.
wasn't in that rush and exasperated
Yes.
every single morning. And I
Mhm.
said to Pamela, and the most fantastic thing happened. I did not wake up a single day exhausted.
Oh
For
my gosh.
someone who had no food stomach, I don't understand how I didn't wake up exhausted. It has it's been a wonderful experience. It
Mhm.
has taught me that I overeat.
Yeah, I think me too. I learned that too. Yeah.
Definitely overeat.
Can I tell
Mhm.
you why? Because you go to bed with food in your stomach,
Yes.
So that's why we
right?
wake up
So
exhausted?
instead of resting, yeah, instead of resting, instead of the stomach, instead of the body doing what it does in the night, which is regenerating and stuff like that, it's now that the 'cause when you eat, all your organs are functioning. It has to go through your digestive tract, from your mouth to your anus. Everything is working at some point
Mhm.
along the way, right? Instead of sleeping and resting and being revitalized and renewed, get up refreshed in the morning, you're
So that's
exhausted.
why they say not to eat, like, is it 2 hours before
Yes.
bedtime?
Yes, yes, your food, depending on the food that you eat. For example, most people eat like, animal product or fish or meat before they go to bed, right? That needs 5 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Actually, meat takes 72 hours to digest, right? 3 days. But you eating a food in at night before bed, it does not get digested, right?
Right.
And so you're going to bed and your stomach, your body's working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you get up in the morning, and the food that you ate is rotted in your stomach, and you're adding more stuff on there. Thinking, okay, I'm having a fruit salad. I'm having a yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the worst part is, and that's a whole other topic. It's my favorite topic, that you're eating 3 meals a day and you're going to the toilet one time and you feel so
Oh,
good.
that's not no. Okay, let's talk about that because you just some people just got like smashed
That's
right there.
crazy.
Like, what? That's not good.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
You're eating 3 meals a day and you're only having one bowel movement. Where do you think the other 2 meals are
Where
going?
are they going?
Right?
Answer that first, please.
It's stuck on the wall of your colon. Okay, it gets stuck there, and then you have your colon begins to swell, 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 swell. Most people who are walking around with big stomachs is because the colon is prolapsed. It's just there. It's heavy, right? And so you find now what happens is, and I don't want to scare you, but it's the reality. This is good science. This
Yes.
is good science, right? When you eat your food, it goes into your mouth. You get, if you don't chew properly, you miss on the breaking down of carbohydrates in there. It goes into your stomach. Then you get the hydrochloric acid. It's secreted. It's supposed to break it down. Okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's supposed to go into the small intestine where nutrients supposed to be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because you're not chewing the food properly, number one, you're
Mm-hmm.
not combining the foods properly, number two, all right? The food doesn't get digested properly, number three. So it goes into the small intestine and it doesn't get, there are no nutrients to reabsorb, okay? Then it goes into the large intestine where water has to be reabsorbed, okay?
Right.
But it stays there because you're not drinking enough water anyhow. So it gets stuck on the lining of your colon. Okay. And so what gets reabsorbed back into your bloodstream is what's in the colon. And so now you're
Okay.
losing your hair, losing your eyesight, you have eczema, you have all different problems with your ovaries. Check out your digestive tract. Okay.
Okay. The
Check
G
that out.
that's
Okay.
the GI tract that is
Yes.
that's the
Check that
GI
out. Yeah.
tract. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So if you're eating, you're supposed to secrete.
Mm.
Okay, the food you had this morning supposed to be secreted tomorrow morning. That's a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but no, once a day, and everybody's so happy. Oh, I had a good boob. I feel so good. No, where the other 2 meals? It's stuck in your colon.
And that's because of the kind of food that we're
That's the
eating
combination of food that you're eating,
and
and also the
frequency.
time that you're eating,
Mm-hmm.
and a simple thing as Standing and eating can affect you. Drinking and eating can affect you. There's so much to this thing. I mean, it's just cultivated habits that we need to unlearn.
Yeah.
That's it, right? We can talk for days and months
Yeah,
about
I
different
see.
things.
You see why? That's why we signed on, right, Charmy? Because she was just so confusing.
Mhm.
She was so convincing, and like you get the impression that she just so knows. And having gone through that process with her, she definitely knows what she's talking about. Like no doubt.
I'm not
Yes.
a health professional. I am not a scientist. I just study, and I have done my plant nutritionist training. But before that, I was doing my research for my own personal self well-being. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There are studies done on snacking.
Hmm.
One
That,
peanut,
that you
one
remember
peanut.
Ernestina from? That's me.
Every time you put something in your mouth,
Yeah.
you have breakfast in the morning. Then at 10, somebody pass around selling something in the office, you buy
Yeah,
it.
muffins, Tim Hortons muffins.
Tim
Okay,
Hortons muffins, you buy
that's the
that.
American. Oh yeah.
Then
Mm.
you had, because you had breakfast, okay, whatever you had, eggs and whatever it is, I don't know, whatever you had, your stomach has to stop digesting your breakfast and secrete new hydrochloric acid to break down the piece of Tim Hortons muffin that you're going to bite because you're
Okay.
busy. Okay. Then at 1 o'clock, which is Charmaine's lunchtime, you okay? You want to go and get your lunch because you are stoic, you are on,
Yes, and
robotic on a
on
thing.
a schedule.
So
Yeah.
in a
Mm-hmm.
schedule. So now, you remember you had the breakfast and you had the piece of Tim Hortons. Then now you're gonna have lunch. So your stomach will stop digesting the piece of Tim Hortons that you ate and secrete new hydrochloric acid, all right, to break down that lunch that you're going to be eating that has probably fish and vegetables or whatever it is that you're
Mm-hmm.
eating, okay, which needs 5 hours to
Mm-hmm.
digest, okay. But no, what time is supper? Maybe around 4 o'clock, somebody give you a piece of chocolate, you
Yeah.
eat that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The stomach has to stop digesting your lunch and secrete more hydrochloric
Okay.
acid to break
Can
down the
I
piece
ask
of chocolate.
what's the damage of the hydrochloric?
I'm
Okay,
coming
great.
to that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming to that, right? I'm coming to that very easily, right? What's happening, number one? Because we are so fearfully and wonderfully made, God designed our stomach lining with a particular coating to help protect us from the hydrochloric acid. If that acid touches your hand, it's going to burn through your skin. Okay? But constantly always over secreting of hydrochloric acid will eventually one day erode the stomach
Mm-hmm.
lining. Then you hear, oh, I have acid
Mm,
reflux.
right.
Okay? Then you have ulcerated
Mm-hmm.
stomach. Then you have stage one cancer, stomach cancer. Then you have stage two and stage three. That's how it starts. It's a simple little bad
Mm-hmm.
habits. Okay, that's the one thing. Number two is because you're not giving the food enough time to digest and to get to the small intestine so that
Yes.
nutrients can be
Mm-hmm.
reabsorbed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What happens is that the food will rot in your stomach. Okay, and so you don't get to absorb any nutrients. That rotten food goes to your large intestine and gets reabsorbed back into your bloodstream. That is science. Guys, just check the science. I'm not telling you my
Yes,
opinion,
exactly.
okay?
Yeah.
That rotten food gets back into your
Mm-hmm.
bloodstream. Okay. And if you are somebody who's genetically predisposed to breast cancer or to stomach cancer or to PCOS or to whatever it is, that's the first place you're going to have
Mm.
problems.
And a lot of
Okay.
it affects a lot of us black women more than other
Oh,
races,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we are busy. We are on the go. We are moms. We are doing
And I
everything. We
think
are
we
everything.
carry a lot too,
Yeah.
emotionally.
Yes.
I think we
Yeah.
carry a lot to that. That's
Yeah.
something that perhaps has to be
Mhm.
looked at.
Right.
We just have a couple
Yeah.
more minutes. We did start at 4 minutes past. I
Yeah.
really want to honor everybody's time, so we'll go until that time. But last thing we want to talk about before we go back to our life sentence, right, Chami? Let's talk about that. Like, how does somebody prepare themselves to be healthier that way, to adopt that lifestyle? Maybe Shami, can we start with you? Let's start there, Pamela, and then I'll perhaps give just one or two ideas of what I've been thinking about. Because when you said to me today, this is a life sentence, I think I also, it was like
Mhm.
you're your own rush when you told me that. Saying that
Mhm.
second piece, it made me pause and to be like, okay, what exactly does that mean? And if this is not just short term, just to get to the 100 hours, but to have a healthier lifestyle, what's the piece? Who do I have to become? That's a y'all know my favorite question. As a who do you have to become to have that kind of peace in your diet? Right? So, Charmaine, what about you? When you hear this is a life sentence, like what changes, or yeah, what does that mean to you?
Okay, definitely. I didn't want it just for 100 hours.
Mm.
I want to make a lifestyle change. And like I spoke with Pamela this morning, I was telling her about a medical condition that I have and a positive comment
Mm-hmm.
that a doctor made. I was
Okay.
telling her that it's not something that happened overnight. I found out about that condition when I was 25. So I have
Mm.
been working on it for 25 years for me to get a positive response.
Mm.
So when you say it's a life sentence sounds like hard time. But if it's like a lifestyle change,
Mm-hmm.
definitely it's more palatable.
Oh, no, no, I need to hear. Sorry, no, I need to hear life sentence. I know me, okay?
Yeah. When I say life sentence, I mean, and I get what you're saying, Charmin. That's excellent. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like it's
Oh,
a
no, people like
life
me,
sentence.
we need to hear life
The word life.
sentence.
The word life. It means this is supposed to be your life.
This is it. This is life.
That's
This
it.
is it.
It's not that like 100 hours. I want to get over with this thing and get it done, and so I can go to my normal life. No, you cannot. You should
Well,
not.
so that's what
Okay,
I think.
this is who you
Yeah,
are
go ahead.
becoming. You are evolving into this holistic
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a constant daily thing. In fact, it's the way you should have been eating. And the other thing, people say, oh, it's expensive to be plant based. No, it's not. Especially if you live in Africa or you live in the
Oh.
Caribbean, it's not expensive if you have your backyard and you have your banana tree or dashing bush, whatever. It is not. It's because you have to change your approach. You think, okay, fine, I'm going to the supermarket and buying all the packet things. No, you don't have to buy Beyond Meat and all. No, in fact, these things are not even
Mm-hmm.
healthy for you, right? You learn how to prepare simple foods. Charmaine, if you realize in the protocol that you got, it's simple foods. It's deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not fancy smanchy. It's teaching you how to take the simplest things, okay, of broccoli or whatever, and make it into something that's tasty. You don't have to have the all the fancy quote unquote vegan things that they're selling in
Yeah.
the superstore. These things are highly processed, highly saturated fat, highly in sugar, sweeteners, high in salt, sodium. Okay, you don't want to be using those things. You want to be able to learn how to create foods with what you have in your
In environment,
pharmacy.
right? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Farmacy,
Okay.
pharmacy,
Sharp.
right? Yes,
Go
Shams.
ahead,
Yeah,
Sean.
and the other thing, Lisa, is
Mm-hmm.
when you are used to a particular schedule and a dietary routine, for you to just change it 100% is
Yes.
difficult. So I'm
Mhm.
thinking small
Mm.
adjustments really works.
Yeah.
Yes,
A with B
yes,
really works because
yes.
if you try to change everything one time, you will just go back
Yeah.
to.
You can't go cold turkey. Some people can. Some people can go cold turkey because I'm telling you, Charmaine, when you say your death is knocking at your door,
Oh, yeah. You'll go cold turkey.
a drowning man will grab
Yeah.
at a straw.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I have had many experiences with people. A drowning man will grasp at a
Yeah.
straw. When you see death is knocking, pock,
Mm-hmm.
pock, pock, okay, and somebody's handing you a leaf of life, you will
Yeah.
take it. You will cut everything out of your system because you know that's the only way. Okay, you're finally mentally ready. God has forced you. God has headbutted you into saying, "Listen, I've been trying to tell you this for all your
Mm-hmm.
whole life. Stop eating that nonsense, and this is what you have to be eating." But you know
Mm-hmm.
what happened? God is
Yep.
love. Okay, God
Mm.
is love. Sometimes He has to headbutt us into a
Yeah.
wellness,
Yeah.
right? And so every situation is
Mm-hmm.
different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but so we do have the small
Mm-hmm.
steppers. We do have those who have to go cold turkey because they have no
Right.
choice,
Okay.
right? So I'm trying to avoid people from reaching the point where you have to go cold turkey,
Right. Okay.
right?
That's awesome. So I'm going to put up that link again and put it in the chat that if people want to contact you, Pamela, because we were at the hour, we could go on for
Yes.
another hour, right? We just have words. I mean, yes, we could just do that, right? But we'll need to stop now and let's talk. Last thing is for those people who are wondering, did we make it to 100 hours? Okay. I mean,
Ha.
Here comes the story. Carrie, did you make it to 100 hours?
Lisa, look at the state of
What?
me.
She made it
Champion,
to
champion
118
bubbler. It's
hours,
still going.
right?
Yes. Yes.
118 hours. Okay, so my story is like I made it to about like 94 hours and I really could not, like, I feel I couldn't take it. I was just like, here's what happened. And I know for the next time. Okay. So quick
Mhm.
story. That last day I felt good. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm coming to the end. I think I was too ambitious. So that it was the Thursday because the first thing is I thought it was 3 days. Like you guys, it's actually four
Mm.
days and 4 hours. When I
Four
did the math,
hours.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what on earth? Another day? Anyway, come Friday, I was like, you know what? This is the last day. Yes, I had been cooking in, for the family, whatever, but I decided to do like a nice spread, bake a chicken, stuff the chicken. You all know the smell of stuffed
Mm.
chicken? I swear that chicken
Mhm.
followed me around all evening. Okay. So I tried to go to bed early and the smell, the chicken in the oven was just simply like too overwhelming. And finally, I'm like, you know
Mm.
what? Okay, I'm almost there. I know I've told people not to lack finish, but this time I lacked finish. But I made it that far, having not ever done something like that. So, and I know like my major win was coming off the coffee. So now I know not what to
Mm.
do on the last day. Just simmer down, let it just die down, okay? Instead of going to cook up a big fuss and get in the kitchen and all around that food and the smell. Like literally, that's what happened to me. I felt like a headless chicken was just following me around. Like here I am, here I am. So that was not very nice, but I think with deeper understanding of what the process is, that I'm fully on board and looking at it like, okay, settling in myself, Lisa, if you want the longevity and and I was like in a better mood because there was no coffee to it. Like I was such in a better mood all the time, and I always thought I needed coffee to keep on going, but clearly I am my own rush. So I thank you for that,
Wow,
Pamela.
love it.
Yes, absolutely. So onward, Charmaine,
Yes,
with Chef Pamela.
with Chef Pamela. Yes.
Yes.
Coach,
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 yeah,
coach.
Coach Pamela this time. Yeah, it really is Coach. No, she coached well. Like she's definitely a coach. That's what she did. So everybody, we hope
Mm.
you've enjoyed this. That before you put the next snack in your mouth, you'll think of what Pamela said. That every time you put something in your mouth, there's what hydrochloric acid.
Acid,
Yeah.
yes, that's your
But I'd like to
growth.
give you the
This is
last word, Pamela, just in terms of encouraging us, to take our health seriously and to look at food in a different way. And then we'll come to you, Shams.
I remember when I was younger, my uncle who lived in England, he sent me a card and he said, "You are the most important person to
Mhm.
yourself, right? Take care of you."
Mhm.
Right, and so nobody can do it better than you. You have to take care of yourself because this is your temple. This is where God wants to live, right? And God wants to live in a temple that not just looks good but is actually inside, internally,
Mhm.
beautiful, right? And so I want to encourage us to just spend time and really doing a self assessment. Am I really prioritizing my well being? Open your cupboards, read your ingredients. See what are you eating? What are you consuming? That's key, right? I love going to the grocery store. Nobody likes going with me, not with my daughter, because I spend time looking at ingredients, reading. It's a joy, it's a passion. It may not be yours, but it should be if you love yourself.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, if you love children, you love your family, understand what they're putting in those things that you're eating, the growth hormones, all the additives, all the toxins, all the flavor toxins, all the carcinogens. It is there. The whole plan of fast foods is to really keep us
yeah.
unhealthy. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my passion with you. Um, Please feel free to reach out to me if you really want to start the walk towards wholeness. If you just want to talk about it, then you can do that as well. But if you're going to sign up
The
through,
link right here. Yeah, I put it in again. Yeah,
it's because you want to take that
right.
step
And
towards health. and I am willing to help you because God is
Okay,
good.
and then if
Thank you
you're
so
on
much.
LinkedIn, you mightn't
Yeah.
be able to see the link, so you'd have to go to YouTube, sign up for the Basement Chronicles YouTube channel, and it's under in the comments. Yeah. And Charmaine, last word, hey
Yes.
girl.
Yes, and it's not only about water for 100 hours.
Yeah.
It's also about
Mm-hmm.
being more mindful every single day what you put into your body.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody.
Yes.
What a lovely time. So don't go anywhere. I'm gonna end the stream, and they wanted to kind of arrange a couple things on the screen when we're done. So thank you, everybody who's tuned in wherever you're watching me from, YouTube or LinkedIn. Thank you so much for tuning in, and join us next week Sunday for another interview with an immigrant who's doing amazing things. Thank you, my guests, for being here
Thank
as
you.
well. Bye.